this video, we're going to look at a couple of different samples and try and use those samples to get information about a population. And I'm going to read the problem, I'll explain the problem, and then we'll solve it. All right, an apple orchard has 874 apple trees. The gardeners each checked 75 apple trees in different areas of the orchard and noted the number of trees that are ready for picking. Each gardener used his or her results to estimate the total number of trees in the orchard that are ready for picking. So this is the scenario. You own an apple orchard, you've got 874 trees, and you're trying to figure out which trees are ready to pick, how many trees are ready to pick. So you send out some folks to go and check on the trees, and they each look at a sample of 75 trees. And they each come back with different information based on that 75 samples, sample of 75 trees, and you're trying to figure out how many can you harvest. All right, let's see how this plays out. So looking at the information, Gardener A said that there were 11 trees ready. Gardener B said there were 18, and Gardener C said there were 13 trees ready for picking. So then the question becomes, how many trees are ready for picking based on these samples? And basically, once again, what we're doing here is we are going to take the total number of trees, which is 874, and we're going to multiply that by the results of the sample. So for this first one, we're essentially multiplying 11/75 by 874. And once again, this can be done very simply. If you have a calculator that uses fractions, you can use fractions, and if not, you're just going to multiply 11 by 874 and divide it by 75. And if you do that accurately, you'll find out that the result for the first farmer, I'm sorry, I'm going to slide this up a bit, if you don't mind, is going to be, what do I got here? Approximately 128 trees, right? You're going to round to the nearest tree. And so this would be 128 according to this person. For for Gardener B, what we have is 18/75, and we'd multiply that once again by our total amount of trees in the orchard, which is 874, and that one would give us, let's see, if I do my multiplication right, about 209 trees. And for my third person, they said that 13 in their sample of 75 were ready for picking, and if I multiply that by 874, that's going to give me approximately 151 trees that are ready for picking. Okay, so we can see that we've got quite a range, right? This person, 128, this person says 209, this person says 151. And these estimates are wildly different, and that answers question A. What was each gardener's estimate? Well, 128, 209, and 151. Let's look at question B. Here they're saying, suppose the actual number of trees ready for picking is 161. How can you use the information in the samples to get the best estimate? And that's a really good question. How could you do that? Well, if I went and I took 3 samples, and I wanted to combine that data, what I would do is I would average them together. And that's what I'm going to do here. I'm actually going to add these 3 together, 128, plus 209, plus 151. And that's going to equal 488. And now I'm going to take an average, right? I'm going to divide that by 3. And that's going to equal, I believe, let me see what I get here, 488, divided by 3. I'm working on my calculator. That's about 162. And as you can see, what it says is, suppose the actual number of trees is 161. And yes, when we took the average, we got 162. So that would be our answer for B. And that's another way in which we use samples from a population to figure out what's going on in a population.